All right, good morning, friends. I say good morning. Oops. Welcome to Undertaking the Podcast. It's about, it's pretty early in the morning. Not a whole lot of sleep, just trying to get some things accomplished. But I thought I'd hit up an episode here. So we're doing episode 5, My Father's Chair. Let me hit the sponsors, and then I'll kind of go deep into the episode here. Indiana Donor Network, as always, is a sponsor of this. Why? Because it hits different with my family. My dad and, these episodes, they're dedicated to him in a lot of ways. That's odd to say. They are, of course, dedicated to him, but without donation, we wouldn't have been able to celebrate him for 7 months after his first screw-up in surgeries. So, IndianaDonorNetwork.org. Guys, they do so many things over there, especially for families. If you don't have an OPO that you're communicating with as a funeral director, you really need to start. We've got a funeral director liaison, Mackenzie Huey, over there that's absolutely unreal when it comes to communication and helping us out when it comes to a lot of things. So IndianaDonorNetwork.org. Guys, gather. Zach Chatterton's over there, gather.app for case management, QR, body tracking, funeral live streaming, funeral home websites, all kinds of different things when it comes to Gather. But Zach talks about his, his story when it comes to Gather and how it came forth here. So gather.app, proud sponsor of Undertaking the Podcast. Dean Lambert, episode 346, thelovealwaysproject.org. Very, very, very intimate story here with Dean and how this came about and what was going on when it came with the Love Always Project. Now, they talk about the idea like the ultimate act of love is pre-planning your funeral in so many words. And that's the act of love to your family after you've passed on and died. And this is what they preach. That's their mission. Dean has got an unbelievable story when it comes to this. So please check out 346 with Dean Lambert and the lovealwaysproject.org. You can find them there at the website and in the show notes. Wilbert Burial Vaults, wilbert.com, friends. Let's see here. I've got to find... There we go. So Wilbert does a lot of different things when it comes to vaults, honestly, when it comes to memorial keepsakes, different things like that. Wilbert.com, commemorating life with respect, is where you can find them. And then they've got Wilbert Direct and e-commerce for funeral professionals. So Wilbert I think it was 2019, we ran into their booth and didn't leave for 45 minutes. They just talked to us. We talked to them. Plethora of information. Very much appreciate Wilbert. No question about that. Certified Safety Training is our next. CertifiedSafetyTraining.org. I believe it's Mark Harrison over there when it comes down to Certified Safety Training. We met him a few years ago in Chicago, and he does OSHA. He does a lot of different things when it comes to compliance, which is veterinarians, funeral homes, cemeteries, crematories, monument companies, hospice, and then all kinds of different things when it comes to data safety, certified safety data sheets, which is a big deal for funeral homes. If you all don't, well, the people that are listening to this probably do understand that. But OSHA comes in and really waves that haymaker constantly. My favorite thing to do is say, hey, talk to Mark Harrison, because that's the guy I'm following. I'm following into the fight, buddy, when it comes to OSHA. So Mark Harrison over there at CertifiedSafetyTraining.org. Like I said, he goes over OSHA. You can hear some of the ads that we've had with him, the Did You Knows and things like that. There's a lot of things he's opened our eyes to when it comes to OSHA and things we need to be honestly paying attention to. NationalMortuaryShipping.com. National Mortuary Shipping and cremation, guys, is something Dad had to use a few different times. When it comes down to it, when you're a rural funeral home and you're running into issues when you got people coming from out of state, repatriations, things like that, who are you going to call? I don't know how to do that. I have to call somebody. They do all kinds of things, all the way from services, livery, to embalmings, to transfers, removals, whatever you want to call it. That's what that is. So, NationalMortuaryShipping.com extremely helpful. 1-800-321-0185. Find them, LinkedIn, Facebook, and then it looks like on Twitter as well. There we go. So, all right, into the episode, friends. Not a closer on this, but we're just going to try to get this out. So, this is an episode of me. I believe I was getting ready to do a cremation service, and a little sideways with the cemetery I was at. Not sideways, just an odd frustration, I guess. And I've voiced that in there. You can kind of hear it, but I'm by myself in the cemetery. Bells going off in the background. I believe this is at Anderson Memorial Park, which is a cemetery. It's a big cemetery. I think it's either SCI owned or Flannery Buchanan owned. I'm not sure which. But there's some things they can work on there. A little, I'd say, smile more, a little bit more personality, and happiness would be nice, but it is what it is. I think in society, that's something we've really got to work on, is just being nice to people. But anyway, so I get to kind of talk about that here. It's not a crazy long episode by any means, but it in these moments where I'm in these cemeteries, memories come back, guys, and I talk about, when I have the chance to do services for people, and if I have chances to speak or whatever else, I talk about, those things that take you back in time. It's unbelievable. Smells, tastes, sounds, all that stuff can take you back in time to a very, very vivid moment. And that's what this was just a moment in time where I remember being in these cemeteries with my father. And spending the mornings, but that's how we did our mornings, man. Like breakfast, funeral, Saturday morning. And, it's different doing it by yourself. It's different doing a podcast by yourself, when it comes down to it. So there's a lot of surreal moments, I think, this past year for me when it comes to someone just disappearing. But it's not any different for me than it is anybody else, guys. I've got a funeral. By the time this gets out, the funeral is going to be long gone. But I've got a funeral today that this family, and I am the officiant, Monsignor Ballard, today. I've had to do that a lot since Dad's passed, but which I do enjoy. I'm getting more and more acclimated to that, But these people are going through the same thing. It happens every day. The same thing that I went through in February. The same thing that we all went through when Ron passed. The same thing. Like, it's not. That's the thing I want to make sure you all understand. It's not abnormal for anybody. So, and these feelings aren't either. So, well, I don't know that I have a whole lot else to say when it comes down to it. So, what I will say is, friends, rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend. Undertakingthepodcast.com. So, rock and roll, guys. All right, we're back. We're in the cemetery now. I just put my fault in the grave. It's a cremation service, so graveside service for cremated remains. So families will do that where they want to have you'll hear the church, it's not even a church bell, it's a bell in the background here in the cemetery, or you'll hear they're mowing as well, so bear with me, friends. Honestly, man, it is peaceful. God, it's peaceful. I know right now it sounds busy, but it's really not too bad. But so yeah, that's what my morning consists of right now, is a graveside service here. And see, I know why they did that. And what irritates me is, this isn't their service. They don't need to change that around. So it doesn't need to say Anderson Memorial Park on the front of it. I don't care. So we will turn that around. That's just being spiteful, I guess, right? I had it the way I wanted it. Don't touch it, right? But so here we are. So anyway, back to it, man. So yeah, talking about the idea of smell, and how that's a tangible product in some ways, and it's a tangible product in a lot of ways. It's going to disappear over time. foresee, Dad's closet right now is unbelievably just, you open it up and you're like, oh my God, it's him, and it's just how I felt this morning with your gloves when I was dealing with it. So I would venture to say there's a lot of firsts now. Brian said that a while back, and I know we talked about a while back the idea of, the lake being a first. It's not the first time without him. And that was a challenge. It was. I cried. You guys heard it. Well, if this is released, um, if it's been released yet, I haven't edited it yet, so I assume Brian's going to release it here soon, but it's not edited yet. I know that. I haven't listened to it. But you'll hear, man. This is tough, dude. It's just crazy. You just never think you're going to be in this situation, and especially within tragedy. I thought for sure we had years left, man. 20 years left. And we don't. We didn't. And boy, it's been a challenge. So it is tough being at the funeral home, seeing pictures. I dig it, but being there 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, bombing or whatever, doing whatever I got to do, being there late, 9, 10 p.m. Usually that was me and you, getting ready for services the next day. One thing I really do miss, Pop, is God, you hated when I called you that, but I always did. But I miss going out to breakfast at the Waffle House with you before our Daleville services. Meeting Mom, going to Denny's. It's one thing I thought about yesterday a lot. Mom and I worked together, and we had a service in Daleville, and I thought about you a lot yesterday, but it was one of those deals where any other time, a few years ago before the merger, it'd been me and you going to get breakfast and then doing a service together, and I'll say, I'm 100% pleased when it comes to the time that I got with you. I hope you know that and realize that the time that I've had with you and that I had with you was crucial. It was awesome. Maybe that's the reason I left paramedicine. I don't know. Um, but it was right on. I'll be 100% with you there. It was right on, and we did a lot of cool father-son things together. A lot of cool father-son things together. And in the moment, I don't think I realized how lucky I was, but I sure did appreciate it in the moment. That last trip to Disney, trip to Palm Springs. So your smell just triggered me this morning. Triggered me so hard. And in a good way, but it just got me. I walked over to your gloves 2 or 3 times and just smelled them before I left. And, it was emotional. I got some guys coming up here from the cemetery. I'm over here looking around or whatever. It's weird to have your name tags. I got all your name tags now. They sit on my desk, but yeah, I don't know. The kind of reason I'm doing these conversations with my dad is I know everybody goes through this, but I don't know if they ever talk about it. I don't know that anybody actually ever relays what's going on in their mind when it comes to this stuff. And this is where I'm at. and this is where I've been at for a minute. And here recently, I've been struggling more so than I ever have um, when it comes to you being gone, and a lot of it has to do. The medical community can go pound sand in so many ways, but I think a lot of it just has to do with as busy as we've been and not having that security net, not having you right there next to me it's crazy. I left this career to be with you and do this with you, and here we are. I'm doing it by myself now. I got mom, but mom needs to kind of do what she needs to do now. Like it's not she doesn't need to be here. She doesn't want to be here, and I I'm the name on the sign, and it's a struggle being the only one left in a lot of ways. I don't know. So yeah, that was my morning. I'm a little triggered. I miss you and I love you, and we're trying to get through a lot of different things. And we're 2 months in. I mean, who knows what a year looks like? Who knows what 10 years looks like? What an absolute challenge. But part of the reason I record is I know I can always go back. I've gone back and listened to your embalming episode and the night of your visitation. Listened to that a few different times, and that's hit extremely differently as well. And yeah, I don't know. I walk out here, and like I said, I'm not a fan of memorial parks. Anderson Memorial Park isn't my favorite either, but there is some peace here, and we get to lay this young lady to rest today, and before the family gets here, I get a little bit of alone time, and it's weird that alone time in the cemetery. I don't know if other funeral directors or people really realize that there is an unbelievable peace right before a funeral. If you're doing a graveside service, right before you're doing the service, and everybody gets hustled, there's an unbelievable peace that kind of comes over the cemetery in a lot of ways, and um, it is amazing. It really is amazing, and like I said, man, silence and peace. There's so much you can get done, and I'm finding out that so much more. And Brian is too. You guys, you're hearing some of his brain grades and some of the stuff he's doing. You can hear him, guys. You're seeing and watching, not watching, you're listening to us transform in a lot of ways, going through our day-to-day challenges. And, just trying to be real, so this is what this is. I don't know how else to decompress. I talk. That's what we do. So Brian and I both do. We talk. We'll talk for hours on the phone and not get anything accomplished from a standpoint of work. But that's what we do is we talk. We hash things out. We conversate. And that's what I've been doing a lot of lately, especially when it has to do with you and kind of this series, because it's a weird moment in life, man. And it's so tough to describe. So, I feel alone. I feel lost. I feel lucky. I feel blessed. I feel so many different things from you, Pop. Mm. It's so crazy to sit with these families too, for them to literally say, "Oh my God, you sound like your father." Oh my God, I thought I was talking to Marty Ballard. It's just different. What's crazy is I am at the same spot we did our last graveside together. That is flipping crazy. Trying not to use try not to use profanity. But, oh my gosh, yeah, just to the south of where I'm at, across the road here, was Dad and I's last graveside together, and he was the minister. Isn't that wild? So, yeah, friends, like I said, this is just one of those moments, a triggering moment where you guys get to see or hear a little bit of the realities of what the hell is going on in everybody's mind, and what's going on in the funeral director's mind. You know, just because we're funeral directors, just because we deal with this daily, doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. I've never hurt like this. I've never had so much stress and challenge in my life over the past few months. Over the past year, honestly, since Ron died. But, you know, the last few years, and Dad could tell you this too, even with what's gone on here recently with him passing. I mean, he'd say, he knows. You know, the past few years have been pretty tough. And, in a lot of ways, a lot of growing up, a lot of things I've been dealing with personally, you know, and trying to get through. So, you know, and Brian and I have talked about some of that stuff too, but we're both in good places, struggling with different things. But, well, Dad, I miss you. I know I'm at a different cemetery, but it's weird. I feel like every time I'm in a cemetery, I want to record with you because it's what we did. I remember too sitting here with you back and forth before that family came in. You did. I just remember all of it. I miss it. I'm envisioning it right now, seeing it. So, all right. Well, I got to dry my eyes a little bit here before this family gets yours. Love you, Dad. I miss you. God, I miss you. And the community misses you. And I heard your voice on the podcast this morning. And like I said, the gloves just kind of triggered me in a lot of ways today, but this is how we do it. So, rock and roll, friends. We're working today, funeral the heck out of this Wednesday. Rock and roll.
A funeral will hold up in front of society the most noble, the most thoughtful, sensitive, caring, compassionate aspects of life. And you turn the mirror a little bit, and a funeral will also show you glaringly the selfish, cynical, unkind, insensitive, thoughtless side of life.
This is what my father will look like when he's dead, to myself. It was just like that. And then suddenly the tense all changed, and I said to myself, this is my father dead. That's how it happens.
The most special things you can have in a funeral, and the things that you'll always remember for families, are the things that actually don't cost any money.